Welcome to this job search masterclass. Now this is very important if you think you need a new beginning, new opportunities and a change. Please use these job search tips to empower your future opportunities that you're going to apply for, especially online. You know, take control of your career, find that job, find that career, find that passion that you really want to do. So you can start to future-proof yourself and have the success and the goals and the aspirations that you desire. 3 really important tips. Do you know most candidates do not get an interview because they cut and paste their CV into the application, or they use the same CV for every job application? Don't want to be doing that. Plus, candidates spend too much time talking about what they've done in the past instead of the value that they can bring the company they want to work for in the future. Also, this is a really important tip. Treat your application like a business proposal. After all, you're asking them to invest in you. You need to show that you're a good return on investment, really good value for money. As we know, job searching, it can be tough. Constantly applying for jobs, getting kickbacks, knockbacks. It can be absolutely soul destroying. So it's making sure that you give yourself the best possible chance for someone to say, yes, we'd like to interview you. And that's the whole purpose of the whole interview search process, is to get an interview. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to land the job at the start. We're just trying, that's the ultimate goal. But the first step is to get an interview. So this video, along with a lot of other videos on this site, will help us to build our self-esteem, our confidence, how to talk positively about ourselves. So please check those out, and it's really quite important that you do so. Also, as you'll see in the link below, I've actually written a book on don't just rely on your CV. There's other ways of getting jobs. Some I'll touch on today, but there's some other videos on the site called Don't Just Rely on Your CV, and they're really important for you to have a look at as well. So let's look at, before we, send an application, this is really important. And as we've said already, the purpose of the process is to get an interview. Yeah, the ultimate goal is to get the job, but we need to get the interview. So let's have a think about some of these things. Think about your email address. Do not have funnychap62 at whatever. Yeah, make sure that it's a very sensible email address, because that's the first thing they're going to see if you're applying for things online quite often. Think about your social media footprint. What's it saying about you? It's an extension of your CV. It's your extension of your recruitment application. Make sure if there's stuff on there you may like to remove, and actually think, does it portray you in the right light? Plus also, while we're talking about social media, do think about, whether you're on Twitter, LinkedIn or Facebook or Glassdoor, anything like that, that you are sort of perhaps, doing your research on the company that you're looking at. Get information about the company, understand the branding, understand the marketing of the business. Think about key important events about that business. You could slip these in to your application. This could make a big difference. Do some research. In the business world, we call it doing your due diligence. Okay. If you can, look at some posts that people from that business have put up, especially on LinkedIn. You may like to like and comment and show that you're interested in these things as well. And if possible, to start a conversation with them. Now, they're really important tips that we do need to follow. And as I said, be careful of what your social media footprint says about you. So that's a little bit on the social media and an email address. Also, have a really good look at the job advert and the description. Reread it several times and think, what is it that they're really looking up for? And making sure that I can fit that. Yeah. Get a trusted friend or colleague, that someone you can trust, to say, okay, what do you think they're looking for? Really understand what they're looking for and how you can therefore present the solution. We're going to talk about you being, as we said already, about developing and delivering a business proposal. And that's you, your CV, your application. So you've really got to understand what the business is looking for. Now, if you're not very good at reading instructions, as I said, get someone to help you. If you're not particularly good at spelling, get someone to help you. Grammar, get someone to help you. Someone who perhaps will, sort of talk positively about you, that you can trust. It's really quite important. And reread the application, as I said, several times, and make sure that you get this 100% right. You only get one chance to make that right impression. Yeah, write a cover letter. I think that can be really, really important, and tailor it like a business proposal to the needs of what they're looking for. Talk about what their company's been doing. Do your research on that company, as we said, using LinkedIn, their website, and other social media that they may be using. So as well as thinking about those tips we talked about in sort of, before we send the application, only apply for jobs that you really want to do. What is important, you show that you really, really do want to work for this organisation. And for that, perhaps don't apply for too many jobs. I know that sounds a bit crazy, but apply for the ones that you really want to do. And in today's environment, which is perhaps a slightly more favoured of you, the candidate, rather than the company that we've perhaps had over the last few years, that you can show that you really want to work for them, and you're going to tailor your application and your CV. Do not spread your application and CV to hundreds of job sites and hundreds of different employers, because you'll start to, oh yeah, we've heard from them before, oh yes, we see that they're a bit desperate. I know that's quite a difficult one, but don't throw too much mud at the wall. Try and personalise everything. Okay, see your application as a business proposal, as we already sort of said. Why should they invest in you? And I think that's the question that you need to talk about, that we'll come on to a bit later, about standing out. Tailor your experience and CV to the specific job and organisation. Stand out with your letter. Some people term them as disruptive cover letters. What you're trying to do is to disrupt their thinking and think, yeah, okay, I see they're coming up with something different, and they'll read it rather than just a CV. And I think you can be a lot more personal in a cover letter. It's worth the effort. Remember, get someone to help you to do this if it's not necessarily something you excel at. Describe how you feel connected to this organisation. Talk about their products, talk about their services. It's not all about you. It's the value that you can bring them, so they think, yeah, they're really keen on us. And it's really important. It's not all about you. I want to do this. I want to do that. I need to do that. Think about the value that you're going to bring. Okay. Use the same keywords and terminologies that they do in the advert and in the job description. And that's really quite important, to use those same terminologies so they can see that you're connected. And yeah, you need to adapt your CV to individual jobs and companies. No cut and paste. Sorry, I know it saves a lot of time, but you need to go for the quality here. One style of CV doesn't fit all. Let me say it again. One style of CV doesn't fit all. And these are all things that you can do before you actually apply for a job. So it's great to see that you're still with me on this. And I know we're talking about jobs and applications and new jobs and new beginnings elsewhere. But in the box below, you'll see a download, which I think you're going to find really helpful to help you stay relevant and value and future-proof yourself in managing your self-development for the future. So what jobs to apply for? As we said, try and only apply for jobs and companies that you really want to work for. It comes across in your application, the enthusiasm. I know that can be difficult when times can be a bit tough and you're not really sure which direction to go, but you can get some help on that on some of my other videos in terms of what career would be best for me in the future. So why will you be a good fit? What value will you bring? Don't just talk about your past experiences, but talk about the benefit and the value that you'll bring this company in the future. Yeah, your energy, your enthusiasm, your reliability. And we'll come on and talk a bit more about those a little bit later. Sending too many applications without consideration can mean the online services start to ignore you if you are applying online especially. And your application doesn't even reach the employer. They'll just see that you're clogging up the system and, oh, it's them again, it's them again. Yeah. If the system thinks you're a bad match for the application, you don't even get an opportunity. It can prevent you connecting to the employer. So set your skill sets must match 90 to 100% of what they're looking for. So this is really important when you are applying online. If the system was not in place, the employee would get thousands and thousands potentially of applications. So it's got these filters in there to actually weed people out that aren't the right match. So you've really got to make sure that it's what you want to do and you can match the skills. They're the jobs that you need to apply for. Yeah, and you do need to do some good searching on that. As I said, looking on the job boards, looking on LinkedIn, looking on companies' websites. Start to gather companies that you want to work for perhaps the rest of your career, and start following them. See it as an ongoing thing. So every year that you perhaps keep looking at certain companies that you perhaps think, yeah, one day I'd like to go and work for them. You're selling perhaps yourself in the future, and before you start selling, you've got to do your market research, and you've got to keep doing this ongoing to develop your career. It's really important advice that often people only look at the next job. No, look at the future. Really important. So they're the jobs you need to focus on. So how are you going to make your application stand out? This is really important. Naturally, ask for help. If you know any recruiters, ask them. If you know anyone in HR, ask them. If you know any senior managers, ask them. What is it that they're looking for? And you'll be quite surprised sometimes by the answers. Let me sort of delve into those a little bit. Treat your application as a business proposal, as we said. You need to demonstrate the benefits that you can bring. Don't just talk about what you've done in the past. It's the value that you're going to bring in the future. Demonstrate your uniqueness. This needs lots of thought. Ask for help, okay? Complete the application in full. Have really good examples on how you demonstrate what they are looking for. And I'll come on and talk about this. Look in the job advert. Think about the application needs to be tailored for that job and company. Think about the company values. Find this on LinkedIn. Look on their websites. They may be looking for, and you'll be surprised at this, these are the key things a lot of companies are looking for. Reliability. How do you demonstrate that? How will you be reliable in the future? Great service. Demonstrate how you've provided service in the past and how your view on giving good service in the future. Really important. Trust. Are you trustworthy? Will people trust you? Show and demonstrate how you've developed this in your career so far and how you will do it in the future. Perhaps creativity. Every company needs people with creativity, new ideas, fresh thinking. How will you demonstrate that? Are you honest? Demonstrate it. How do you go the extra mile? What will you do in certain situations if they're looking for that in the job application, depending on the job role? Talk about how you will look to help to service their customers and look after them in the future. Have examples on how you've demonstrated this in the past and how you'll do it in the future. And going back to that first tip under this section, talk to recruiters, managers and HR professionals and recruiters in companies as well as recruitment agencies. And you'll find at the moment, one of the key things that people are looking for, because there is a skill shortage out there in lots of areas, they want people that are going to be dedicated. They want people that are going to be loyal. They want people that they can trust. That's really important. It's not all about you. I want to be doing this in 6 months. I want to be doing that in 12 months. These are my career aspirations. Think about the value you're going to bring them. These are really important tips, which is slightly different to what we may have done in the past. Okay, so skill sets and passion and attitude and mindset, as I said, are really important. How do you demonstrate them? It's not always just necessarily on technical skills. At the moment, companies want to know that you're reliable, as I said, loyal and dedicated, and that you're conscientious and you're going to work well. Attitude of being a great team player are very high on their wants list for candidates, and this is how you're going to stand out. Yeah, your technical skills will get you so far, but it's that bit extra, If you're coming into the working environment and with not much experience, talk about perhaps previous jobs, perhaps working in bars, doing paper rounds, working in shops, working in cafes. This is all really good experience because it demonstrates your attitude and your work ethic. I think that's a really important word that you are trying to get into your applications, is work ethic. They're the 3 key areas before you send an application. I'd summarise the key points on these in a moment. What jobs to apply for, don't just apply for everything, and how to make yourself stand out, really quite important. So in summary, only apply if you have a 90 to 100% match, really important. So especially if you're applying online. Personalise and tailor your application and your CVs. Yeah, treat your application like a business proposal. And what you're trying to do is, okay, we want the job in the end, but you're just trying to get that interview. And if you can get that interview, okay, then we can make sure that we focus on those skills. Think about the value that you can bring. Get someone you trust to look at your CV and your application to help you. And this is really quite important, especially if your spelling and your grammar's not particularly good. I'm guilty of this. Don't throw mud at the wall, as I said, applying for everything. And really have a good reason and think about your story of why you want to work for that organisation and what journey you've been on in terms of your career and how it'll get you. Don't just rely on your CV. Make sure that you've got a good cover letter and a good application form if they're asking you to fill it out. But just before you go, I've just got some extra tips that I think I would encourage you to do if you are in the application process at the moment with you've decided, like, I need a new job, or you must have a new job because you're without a job at the moment. Do think about making sure that you ask for feedback afterwards. They are legally binded to give you feedback on your application, and if you feel you have got on well with the recruiters, just ask for some good personal feedback is important. Don't just talk about you. I've talked about this a lot. Try and get your interviews talking about them and have some great questions. Great questions like, what do you like about the company? Why did you join the company? How has the company helped you to progress and develop? What are the key areas the company will focus on in the near future? How's the company staying unique and in touch with its clients? Have some really good questions to ask people. Yeah, so that's really quite important as well. So I wish you all the best with your job search. If you need any help, give me a shout. And I'd love to know how you get on and if this video has helped you. Please remember to like and subscribe, and hopefully it's been helpful. I'm sure it has. And yeah, please click on or tap on the video on the right of the screen for the next one. And we'll see you on the next one. Good luck.